Hi, Louisa. Thank you so much for joining this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
Oh, thank you, Russell, for having me. I'm actually doing great. I'm just here another day in New York City.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, best place to be in, isn't it? Like a city life, in a top city in the world. So, how are you finding it being there?
I've been here all my life, so it's just the norm for me. When I see all the tourists and everyone in places like Times Square, I'm like, oh no, I must avoid at all costs, just because it gets so congested at times.
Yeah.
But there's really a lot that we get to do here. So there is fun. It's just not when you're in a rush. You don't want to go to places like Times Square.
Mm. Yeah, totally makes sense. I'm the like a kind of countryside guy. So where I live, like a lots of hills and things like that, lots of nature. So that's
Oh,
what I have to do, like a slow living compared to like a fast pace. It's just time flies. I lived in a city in London for like 2, 3 months, and the life was really fast. And when you wake up to like when you go to bed, it's like that hours is just so fast and it just goes so quick. So yeah, I prefer to like live in a countryside, go for a walk and things. So yeah, let's talk about today. Like we're gonna discuss about like empowerment. There's a topic on our show today, and also love to know more about yourself, your journey on like how did you start your business and coming to your own empowerment.
sure. So I started my business really fairly recently, the business aspect. It's been about a year, and I've been a registered nurse for most of my adult life. 17, almost 18 years now that I've been doing that. And it's almost like I've been coaching the whole time. And people have always said, oh, maybe you should be a coach or a therapist, or you're really good at giving advice. And I'd always laugh it off and not think very much of it. And then, even as a nurse, I wasn't always focused on my own health. I was always taking care of everyone else, putting their needs above mine. And my health was dwindling in a way where when I was younger, I was always very active, moving, playing sports, dancing. And then as I got older, the freshman 15, when
Yeah.
you go to college, and then I started my career working, this high intensity job where my health and wellness was not my priority until one day I decided, you know, actually, let me take a step back. I saw a picture of myself that looked terrible, but it wasn't just that I looked bad in my body. I didn't look happy. I
Mhm.
didn't look as if I was the person that I thought I was projecting myself to be. So that day I decided things have to change. I have to start putting myself first. I have to start building myself up the same way I'm building others up. And I just started focusing on my physical health, but not only that, it was about my mental health and shifting certain things and the way that I thought about myself and how I should be progressing in this journey. And also my spiritual health, where in the past I had always compartmentalized each one. It was like, all right, I'm working on my fitness today. Okay, I'm working on my mental health. Okay, I'm working on my spiritual. And I realized that that was not the way for me to really succeed in my goals. So little by little, I started working on me, and people started noticing.
Yeah.
People started asking me questions, asking me for advice, asking me how to do some of the things that I've done, how I've lost weight, or why my whole temperament or my aura has changed. And I started, sharing with people, giving advice, giving them tips, having them come with me and experience things. And then it was kind of like the business, there was like a need for it. It was,
Mm.
I couldn't help as many people if I was just helping this one person or keeping the information to myself.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine who is also a coach, we were having a session and where she suggested it and she laid laid it in my mind once again where I was like, you know what? Maybe this is another avenue for me because I still love nursing. I still do nursing, but there's certain things that I can't do in my nursing scope that
Yeah.
I can do in the coaching scope. So that was kind of the journey there where I was my first client
Mm.
and I just took it to other women.
That's great. That's a great journey you had. You recognize that something is going wrong in yourself, happy and fulfilled with it, and then you recognize and started working on yourself, and now you've seen the results. Now you're empowering other people. So how did your empowering journey started? Like, with what did you do differently? So from when you recognize yourself, like happy, what kind of steps did you take? Like, did you get support from someone else, or you started working on yourself?
Sure. So originally it was okay, what can I do today? Because I knew I was not going to be successful if I was unhappy with the journey. I had tried little things before where I went all in and pushed myself and I would fail because it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
So I went to a method of, okay, how can I be happy today? What can I do? So I started with something small. I found a happy song, a song that would pump me up and just inspire me to move forward. I started journaling, just writing out all these feelings and emotions that I had that I couldn't always describe if I was just trying to share it with
Yeah.
somebody by speaking. But once I put it on paper, it opened up a whole new world and it gave me a different perspective. I started focusing on gratitude and I implemented complaint free Mondays where I would just not complain about anything. If a complaint would even come to my mind, I would see how I could switch that, see what I could learn from that experience, see where I could laugh at it. I remember dropping a bag of frozen strawberries, but I had it defrosting in my fridge and it just fell out. And the mess that it made was, oh my God. It was a sticky mess, let's just
Yeah.
say. And I could have been upset and cursing and just letting it get me down, but I laughed. Then I got a sponge and I started cleaning it up. And I was like, this is a lesson here in
Mhm.
patience because I was not being patient. I was probably grabbing something behind it. I can't remember exactly now, but instead of rushing, I was present in the moment. And just these little things, they tend to add up. And when I'm building myself up with this happiness kind of rehab, it was also empowering me because I realized I had control. I got to make the decision of whether or not I was going to react by screaming and cursing and being upset, or if I was going to react by laughing and realizing mistakes happen and what am I going to do about it? What can I do right now? If if I'm just upset, it's not going to clean up the mess for me. It's not going to make it any easier. But deciding that I'm gonna find the lesson just brought me to a whole new mindset. And also with empowering myself, the same as I work to empower others, is by speaking life into me. And many people have heard positive affirmations and just saying all these wonderful things to yourself. I didn't go from 0 to 100. I didn't say, oh, I love everything about myself and I'm perfect and there's nothing that I need to change. I went for, I'm so thankful for my legs
Mm.
because they allow me to take steps. They allow me to walk. They allow me to go on this journey where now I can run. And I could find a part of myself that I do love, that I do appreciate. And it could be something as simple as, oh, my hands. I love my hands. I love how strong they are and all the things that they can do for me. And then you get to a point as you keep on building upon that where it's like, I do love my body. I do love the things that I can do. I am so grateful for everything that it does. And I'm not trying to change it because I hate my body. I'm changing it because I love my body and I want to do the best by it as well as myself.
Yeah, yeah. So you recognize all of them like shortcomings like you had on your mind, and you worked on it really, really well and see the difference. So how long do you think like a journey was like to see the difference between like when you realize you need to work on yourself to like when did you figure out like again when you're looking in the mirror like no, this is the person I want to be rest of my life? How long did it take the journey?
So when I technically first started realizing I didn't quite like the direction I was going in was so long ago. It was probably maybe 3 years prior to me actually doing something where I had success. Because like I said, I was trying these little things here and there and trying to give it my everything. And if I couldn't give it my everything, that means I failed. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Once I let that go, that day that I saw that picture of not so happy me, I would say I started seeing the changes in me within 3 months or so, where it wasn't about the physical anymore. It was, I'm happy with me and the journey that I'm on. And to this day, it's still not complete. I'm still always moving forward. But I would say, yeah, around that 3 month mark was where I was like, all right, I'm I'm a different person. I am happy with who I am and where I'm moving towards.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 months. Yeah, that's like a doable thing for like so many people, isn't it? So like if someone is going through like a similar to what you've been through, like what would be like your advice so how they can recognize like they need to work on themselves or like take some action? Is there any pattern they can follow?
Yeah, definitely. So how I said I would always try to go from 0 to 100,
Yeah.
that rarely works. It is not sustainable. It usually just leads to failure and also guilt because you're like, oh, I failed again.
Mm.
And if you just take these small steps and just for me, it was about, all right, getting into the mirror, saying something nice to myself. I didn't have to say everything at once. And if I missed a day, that was okay. The same thing with going to work out. I would tell myself sometimes, all right, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all you need to do. If you still don't feel like being here, you can leave. And some of those were my best workouts.
Mm.
And sometimes I left after 10 minutes. So it's just taking those small steps, getting your clothes ready in the morning, eating food that makes you feel good. So often we think, oh, we want the quote unquote fun food, the burgers, the cake, the donuts. But how does that truly make you feel? It may make you happy in the moment, but how does your body feel? How is your energy level? How do you feel when you're hydrated and drinking water and your muscles have like that lubrication from the water? You tend to feel better when you're putting good things into your body.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the physical, but it's about the whole package.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, Luisa, we are coming to the end of this podcast. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show and great conversation we had. So, those who's listening, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself, or they probably want to implement what you did, or like to work with you, where's the best place to find you?
Sure. So if anybody wants to work with me or just have a no obligation transformation call, they can find me on my website, louisavalentin.coach, Louisa, V as in Victor, Alentin. Or you can find me on most of my social medias at Coaching with Louisa. That's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's a very social network. I'm always engaging with everybody. So if they would like to get to know me more, that's where they should go and connect.
It's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, I wish you best of luck with your personal life and your profession you have right now. And thanks for you coming. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Louisa. And you're probably going to implement a few things in your life as well and take some action. If you need any help, then yeah, reach out to Louisa on her website and book a consultation call. And it's completely free. Until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care.